Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be taking a look at small multiple performance. So if you're not familiar with the methodology here, I get this. In this case, I had four of the same visual with each with a different subregion, right? So, but these are four separate visuals, all right? So we turn on recording, right? We refresh the visuals 10 times, right? And then we export it to a file. Then we go on to the next example and do the same exact thing. And then I'll show you that we collect it all in a performance analyzer report. So anyway, so this was one of the scenarios, which was just four separate visuals. And then I did two of these charts where one, I didn't have the hierarchy. So I didn't have the subregion. It was just country. And then I added in, and so that was another test, right? And then I added in subregion right here, and did this as a test. And then of course I did the small multiple version of this, where I put this into small multiple and then ran this as a test. So those are the four tests that I performed. So now, and this is all in that life of our life in Europe report, right? Which you can actually go download yourself if you want to try to replicate some of this stuff as well. I'll probably create a share for all the stuff that I'm doing from the performance analyzer stuff, so that anybody that wants to go in and confirm what I'm saying and get the same results and all that sort of stuff, I'll just share that folder out and I'll include that in a link in the description. Okay, so results. Let's take a look. All right, so one column chart, all regions, right? So that was 46 milliseconds on average to render that. Versus with the hierarchy, it is a little longer, about 6 milliseconds longer on average. The small multiple chart was actually 64 milliseconds, and then the four column charts, one for each subregion, was 86 milliseconds. So the small multiple chart, right, because it's a single visual, so these have to, it's the whole key. The whole key is, each visual, is rendered sequentially. So the second visual to render has to wait for the first visual to render, has to wait for the third visual to render, has to wait for both of those, the fourth one for the previous three, right? So that's why this is probably taking longer, versus with one visual, but you break it up into the multiple small multiples, right? It's faster to render, by a good bit, I would say, but it's still not as fast as just using a hierarchy. And in this case, the small multiple really doesn't look that great, um, because of, all these blank, all these blanks all over the place. So, and also I think it's hard to read a lot of times because the axis is down here, and maybe there's some fixes to that, but I didn't really see too much that you could really do with it to like fix this up so it looks better. Um, I'd want to have my countries probably in, here, um, as well, so that I can tell what the heck's going on and not have these blanks in each of them. Kind of like, right? This is really what you want, right? It conveys the same information as a small multiple, but it's faster to render it this way versus doing the small multiple route. So small multiples faster than individual charts, but not as fast as other ways that you might do it. So that is all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.